I'm just sending you guys a picture of what we look like on this mic. It's ridiculous.
The one day we can't get video.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. There's an update due to my Mac.
Nice.
I need to update it. So
we could use my camera, but he's being.
You could use Josh's nonsense, but I don't care about that.
It's only 1:03. We're currently on time.
Yeah, and we're only doing the one episode today, and not like a 4-hour, two episode session back to back, man. So
I say do it, and then we add this to Patreon.
we don't have a Patreon, Jose.
We should.
Do you want to do all the work for it?
No.
Exactly. That's why we don't.
How about OnlyFans?
Anyway, my camera doesn't work. This is fucking nonsense. My mate Josh is here. Let's start a stupid podcast.
Yay!
Hi, and welcome to the We Need Roads podcast. And just for fun, today I have 3 co-hosts with me. 2 of whom are in the same place sharing a mic, which definitely won't be problematic at all.
Nope.
And first, from the MaXXXine capital of the world, well, it would have been if you were actually where you live, Jose. It's our US correspondent, Mr. Jose Lopez. But you're not in the MaXXXine capital of Florida. Where are you?
I'm channeling my inner Ben and traveling the world. I'm in Georgia, just near Columbus.
I mean, that's spuriously traveling the world. Such an American fucking attitude, isn't it? I traveled the world. Oh, where did you go? Oh, did you go somewhere outside the US borders? Oh, no.
No, I went north 2 hours.
Hey, my state is bigger than half your country, so calm down.
Hey, dude, I'm perfectly calm. I've got a legitimate globetrotter here with me in my dear friend Josh Roush.
Hola.
Hey.
Probably Jose's line.
Oh, shit. Sorry, Jose.
No, I like it. Throwing a little wrench in the thing.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, and after living the rock and roll lifestyle, it's been, a couple of months since the other voice you just heard there, Mr. Ben Davis is back on the podcast.
Yeah,
and a couple of months of sorting all the brown M&Ms out, I take it, mate.
I had to get 1,000 brown M&Ms or Ozzy would go on that night. I was out the bank on me first at Gimme Gimme, having a great time around Europe. Good times.
And as you've already introduced him, yes, our other guest today is, of course, his second appearance on the pod, and that is punk rock filmmaker Mr. Josh Roush, live from Ben's sofa.
Yay. The crowd goes mild.
Can I say second best American in the room?
Man, you are insecure today. Is everything all right? Do you need a cuddle? Do you need a hug over there, bud?
A cuddle. I like that one better. The British term.
So today this is going to be a bit of a hodgepodge episode, as usual, and we're going to do a round table of what we've been watching. So each of you are going to pick 2 things you've seen recently, and it can be a TV show, it can be a movie. We're going to try and keep it spoiler-free, otherwise I'll have to drop in Ben's spoiler jingle, and apparently he gets paid £100 every time we have to use it.
Man, you owe me some fucking money.
We owe you some fucking money, yes. But before we get on to that, we're going to talk about 2 trailers that have dropped recently, and friends, Romans, it's a Gladiator 2 trailer. So, first up, Gladiator 2. This film is set 20 years after the events of the original film, and Paul Mescal's Lucius, son of Connie Nielsen's Lucia, and let's face it, definitely the illegitimate son of Maximus, is living happily in a place called Numidia until bad stuff happens and he ends up in slavery. Inspired by the story of good old dad Maximus, he rises through the ranks while opposing the 2 young emperors, Caracalla and Geta. Right, initial impressions. Let's go to our guest first. Josh, what did you think?
I think you should work for the BBC. Your fucking hosting voice is spot on. I dug it. Like, it's not the Gladiator 2 I wanted, but it looks like the one that I'll definitely get. So I'm pretty stoked about it.
Which one did you?
I wanted the one that. Do you guys know the one that Nick Cave wrote? Like,
oh yes, the crazy one
where he travels back in time and fights in wars, and like that sounded so fucking epic and genius. But that's not the one we got.
To clarify, he travels back in time from where we are, not from where he died.
True.
He gets reborn.
Oh, yeah,
in different bodies.
Like Zeus sends him off. Yeah.
He's like a gladiator through the ages. And apparently he's got this really dark ending where he's just sat there at the Pentagon, like writing something. And you're like,
oh, whoa.
Shit.
It sounds fucking mental.
That really changes the genre up a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot,
That's
actually.
more like a really dark version of Quantum Leap.
Truth.
Yeah.
Nick Cave said it's the best thing he's ever written, which is really saying
that's
something.
That's easy to believe because he writes terrible songs.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Lawless is a great movie.
You know what?
Yes.
It is a great movie.
It is a
That
great movie.
fair.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what we need to do then? Create a different movie out of that script.
Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just let him make it. Like it doesn't really,
Gladiator 2.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ben, what did you think of it?
Yeah, it's banging, isn't it? It makes me want to go back to Rome on a horse with a sword. Anywhere where you've got the Colosseum filled with water and boats having a battle on it is just going to be amazing. And it looks like it's captured the scope of the last one as well. Like there was one hell of a fucking battle scene where the ships are, sort of attacking a city. I don't want to get too into it because spoilers on a trailer.
No, I think we're okay. If it's in the trailer, man, we can speculate on the trailer.
Yeah, it just looks like it's just huge, and they haven't scrimped on anything. I don't think it looks like it's going to be massive. Big fan.
Jose,
All right, I'm gonna have two parts to this. One is to clarify. I think this is going to be a great movie. This is absolutely an amazing situation. But I was just kind of like flatlined across watching it, and I'm like, okay, cool. Water, lots of fighting, Denzel Washington. You got all the good stuff, but okay, that's where I was. And I know it's going to be a great movie. I know when I sit down and I watch it, I'm going to be very entertained. But I don't know. I guess something about the trailer where I'm just like, okay, I'm expecting all of this, and there wasn't really a huge surprise for me. I don't know if I've been spoiled by Marvel trailers where there's like some kind of thing that catches you at the end. But I think it's going to be a great movie. Something about it, I was just like watching it. I don't even know if it was just me sitting there at the wrong time. But it looks good. That's all.
it's
good,
Sir Ridley Scott, Jose. Sir Ridley. Put the Sir on his name.
Sir Ridley Scott. But yes, I know I'm going to enjoy this movie.
Oh, mate, I'm doing this in IMAX. You cannot see a waterlogged Colosseum on a regular screen. It has to be IMAX. It just has to be, man.
Do it in 4DX, so they spray water at you and stuff.
It's actually really fun.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Weird.
But, 4DX, would you also get rammed by a rhino?
Love to be
Yeah.
by a rhino. It's 5DX. You got to pay more for that.
I don't want to. No, so... I think Gladiator, the original one from 2020, from 2000, is literally everyone's dad's favourite film, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the reason I wanted to go to Rome.
I've bought it for my old man so many times. He's got it on regular DVD, then he's got the special edition, then he's got the Blu-ray. And I haven't bought the 4K one yet because I know they're going to do a set with this one, so I'm just waiting for it. And you can just fucking wait. But yeah, going through the trailer, man, you've got Denzel Washington just looking like a G in it, and he even gets his iconic laughing, that Denzel Washington laugh that he does in every film was in this trailer. I was like, yes.
It's just because that's how he laughs.
Which definitely fits into Rome in that time.
Yeah, I did see a few comments where people were like, they're not even trying with the accents. Look, just let the actors do what they want. Fucking Sean Connery was Scottish when he was Spanish in Highlander. No one gave a shit.
Suspension of disbelief.
Exactly, yeah.
I still think the best version of that is Kevin Costner being an American Robin Hood.
Yeah.
With an accent that comes in and out.
Yeah.
Oi, I am going to rob you.
My God, it's like Kevin Costner's in my flat.
So we've got Pedro Pascal in it, and come on, he's definitely going to die in the arena again, isn't he?
You don't think they're going to team up? You don't think that him and Paul Mescal's character are going to team up and overthrow? Because there's two
well,
leaders.
Who's the villain then?
Well, yeah, who is the villain? Yeah, I can see him teaming. I can see him being like the reluctant kind of bad guy, but then he through forged in combat in the arena, they become mates, and then he dies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, someone's got to die, I guess. If it's true to form.
Well, if you look at the trailer, loads of fucking people died, but they cut away right at the minute. It's funny, so many people were like, but that last shot, you see him killing the main character. No, the hair's different. It's not the person you think it is.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Pay a little bit more attention to the trailers, guys. Come on. But
yes,
they got to do a Game of Thrones joke in it, man. Or at least hint at it,
Knowing Pedro Pascal, he is up for anything, so I totally expect a little wink and a nod.
I reckon he's gonna pop someone's eyes out.
Yeah, that's the way you do it. That's the way you do it without being shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're just like, fuck your eyes.
And then he fucks him in the face.
How would say that plot-wise, it does feel like a bit of a retread of the first film. Okay, so you lose everything. There's a one bit in the trailer I really didn't make sense to me. He goes, "I didn't know my mother or father." Right, well, you're either clearly lying because you were at least like 11 or 12 in the first film when you're there with your mum, right? So you're either just lying to someone to pretend to hide your identity, and that's just...
Is it definitely that kid that's grown up? It is. It's not,
it's
not like another, she's had another kid since.
I mean, that'd be a twist, but it'd be a shit twist. So no, it's got to be the same kid, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And we're just waiting for the inevitable reveal where it's, and he was your father. Of course he was.
Is he going to do? Is he going to do that like iconic speech of husband to a murdered wife and your father to a murdered son or something like that?
Well, it sounds like it because that's pretty much what they infer in the trailer anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like living happily in a place called Numidia, which just makes me think of the word Nubian from Chasing Amy.
There we go.
What's a Nubian?
Exactly.
He's like, guys, I got a perfect speech for this.
Well, there's that shot where he's like picking up the armor off the wall and it says Maximus, and I was like, oh yeah, that's my only little worry is that the script and story seems so obvious. Like there's nothing in it that screams out.
Is that a bad thing though? Because
no, not really.
Ian broke down trying to fix it, and the first one is like it's like Rocky, like loser makes good, right? Like it's pretty much what you want from something like that.
Also, Ben, he fights a fucking rhino.
I had a
that looks amazing.
Using only dirt.
I mean, dirt versus rhino, man. Jesus, you'd never think in a million years.
Here's a question: are you more excited about the rhino or the ship on the water?
The ship in the Colosseum. I went to me and my girlfriend went to the Colosseum last year, and they said that in the thing the talk that we did, the guide was saying they used to flood it and put boats on there and stuff. And I was like, that's so cool. And then seeing it in the trailer was like, oh shit, this is amazing. They've done some hella good research.
I literally thought you was going to say in that story then, Ben. And I was like, no, bullshit, they didn't put a fucking boat in here, you knob. And then you saw it in a trailer. And he was like, oh shit, that guy was telling the truth.
I didn't even look like you fucking liars.
I didn't believe it till Hollywood showed me.
Yeah. I do like Denzel. I think Denzel's going to be like the main kind of hero. Well, not hero. I think he's going to be like the puppet master of the whole thing. Because it looks from the trailer like he's kind of manipulating Lucius to take out his enemies.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's going to potentially could be the ultimate villain because, like you say, it's never like the people in the pit who are like in all fucking wars. It's not the actual people who are doing the fighting who are the main ones. It's the people behind the scenes.
And
I do like the fact you got Joseph Quinn and Fred Hetchinger playing. They already look like hissable villains with those shitty haircuts, but they got the same shitty haircut that Joaquin Phoenix had in the original, though. So
yeah, it's the Caesar's haircut, right? It's like it's where they get the idea to put the salad in a bowl.
That was a stretch of a joke.
Jesus Christ.
I'll take that. That's solid. Good on you.
I mean, if you see Jose's face, which you probably can, it's just sold that completely, man. There was no reaction. Or he's reading something else. Pornhub. Put down Pornhub, Jose. Put it down.
Close the window. Close the window.
But the complaint of the trailer, right, and everyone has said, is it shows too much. It's 3 minutes long, man. 3 minutes is too long for a trailer, right? It's too long. Also, I wasn't a fan of the rap track they had in the end because you know what? I love a good song in a trailer when it's edited well, and it literally just felt the music supervisor went, "Oh, they're rapping about blood in the Colosseum. Let's put that in," and that's what they went with.
Little on the nose.
Yeah, I would imagine there was a lot of thought that went into that, but I just think it mishit. I agree that it sort of steamrolls over the end of the trailer. I think it's fine at the start. I didn't think I noticed it, but you're right. Like when right at the end of the trailer where it's a little bit wordy, I was like, "Oh, come on, guys!"
Yeah, it feels like The Great Gatsby. You know, like where what was that filmmaker's name from Australia who did that? And
Baz Luhrmann.
Yes, it felt very Baz Luhrmann to depict like a hip hop track to like kind of like sweeten that like old ass moment. Like
that's what got me when I saw his trailer for the Elvis film. I was like, "Why are you not using Elvis music in the Elvis trailer instead of like crappy remixes and modern day versions of his stuff?"
Elvis stuff is like public domain now, right? It's like out of it's out of copyright. It's over 55 years old.
I feel like it's more 70 years that's out of copyright. That's why only the first did Mickey.
I think so
in the U.S. because I think that's why only the first Mickey rendition is currently open for like interpretation.
Oh,
now.
Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
Mickey
Steamboat
is,
Willie.
yeah.
But I'm sure there's different rules on term, on like visual personal audio, maybe.
Yeah,
I feel
possibly.
like there might be
Maybe.
different rules.
I'm sure I knew this at one point in my life, but never mind. Carry on.
One of my old assistants actually literally used to do music rights clearances when I was on the ships, and she was like, "You definitely can't."
Yeah. Oh God. Oh, it's an atrocious job.
That's probably why she like left New Zealand and went and worked on a cruise ship. I was in my Colosseum story, because I've been there as well, man. I snuck a tripod in, and you're not allowed tripods in the Colosseum.
Oh wow.
Why? In case you start fighting people with it.
But when I got there, it was a private tour, and usually they're like all the super VIPs from the ship, and they kind of looked and went, "There's only 8 people on this," and they just didn't say anything. So I had like a SLR to shoot video on at the time. So this was
Nice.
back maybe like 10, 11, no, probably 12 years ago, man. And I was like, no one's going to say shit. And I literally just set the tripod up. So I got this like super wide angle shot, panning shot of the Colosseum from one end to the other, man. Perfect weather. I was like, fuck yeah.
That's
Nice.
killer.
That's awesome to get when you break the rules.
Oh no!
Freaking law. There's 3 camera nerds on this fucking podcast now. Fuck my life.
What DSLR was it? What's really piss off Ben?
It was the Canon 60D back in the day.
I grew up on a Canon 60D.
Brilliant camera. Got a good 7-8 years out of it.
Oh hell yeah!
And then I was like, I'm too old. I just can't be asked
This
to
is
carry shit
really
around anymore.
boring.
Like for the trailer, but like for the movie, like how excited does it get you for the movie?
Excitement level, I'm at 9, man. I can't wait if I can see it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely up there at 9.
7.
I'm gonna say
but I was
7.
at like a 4 before. Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely at a 4 because I'm like, oh, how are you gonna do a sequel to a
Yeah.
movie that the guy dies? So it definitely made me more interested in the movie. So I'll agree 7 as well.
There's a trailer, Jose, that you have made us watch, and what is it?
Bando Stone and the New World Order. It's
That's definitely not the name of the film, Jose. You've mixed up 2 films into one there.
what? No, Bando Stone and the New World. Oh yeah, okay.
And what's the other one we're going to be talking about?
Captain America and the New World Order.
There you go.
You're
I think
right.
it's Captain
An absolute bastard. You can say it. It's fine.
Captain America: Brave New World,
Brave New.
The Brave New World Order.
Bando America, and the Brave World Order.
Captain Bando.
Captain Bando. That's the film.
Lando Bando.
Hashtag Lando Bando. Jose, you were saying?
Bando Stone. I'll just keep it at that. So Donald Glover is what the part that I like is he's doing the soundtrack for this movie, and it's going to be his 6th and final album under the name Childish Gambino. A lot of people are a little worried. Other people are saying that he's just going to go to using his real name for future albums. There's a lot of potential for this. The trailer looks really interesting.
Yeah, mate, I had no idea about this film until you mentioned it a few weeks back, and like you sent us it in the group chat. And I was like, okay, I'm liking his vibe. He looks like Troy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
This is like if Troy was a really crap lounge singer and then was stuck in the middle of a apocalypse. And I'm there for that, Jose. I'm there for it.
Yeah, and I mean, just visually, what they're doing with this is really interesting.
I'm interested to see where it's going, because like the start of it looks like comedy, and then it looks like he finds this lady and her daughter, I'm assuming, in the aftermath of the world, I guess. And then he's got no skills. He's a singer.
Yes.
Great hits, Jose, such as Party Monkey.
Yes. Yes. I bet you anything those are actual tracks in the
Fucking
soundtrack.
better be. I want a Party Monkey song now, man.
Yeah, but I don't know if you noticed that when he's running away from what looks like
Hey, monkey.
like ostriches, it looks like it's a recreation of the Jurassic Park scene where they're running away.
It
from
feels
those
like it,
dinosaurs.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And this trailer had a fucking rhino in it as well.
Yeah, right? Isn't that crazy?
That's how you make 100 million straight away, man. You put rhinos in your trailers.
4 quadrant.
Your next film, Josh, just however you do it, get a rhino.
Yes.
You blew the entire budget on a rhino,
It's fine. It's fine.
and now it's just a movie about a rhino.
Exactly. You made 400 million. 2 people were mauled, 1 died, but hey, it's fine.
Like all publicity is good publicity, right?
Exactly. It's weird. It kind of looks like a bit like Cube as well, doesn't it? All those are those lasers that are going to like Resident Evil people as well?
No, I think they're more like transportation lasers, because there's that one part where he walks out of this screen and then comes in on the other side. I thought that was really cool. Very Twilight effect. Or not Twilight. Twilight Zone. Very Twilight Zone.
Ben, what did you think?
For a movie that I knew nothing about It was surprisingly good. Like it's like like you get these like you get these trailers that come out of nowhere, and sometimes they just sort of catch you off guard. It was like that. Like the creator for me was one of those as well. Like that was that was really cool. But like I think it's good. I mean, I love Donald Glover, and everything he's done so far has been amazing. So I'm excited for it for sure.
And Josh,
I think Donald Glover is one of the most interesting like artists out there right now. Like between his music and his like choices in films and stuff. I'm not a big Community guy, but whatever. I think that's just me, right? I can tell by your expression it's just me. But no, I'm totally in. I really wonder what the budget was on this because like the CGI looks fantastic, but it looks like kind of lo-fi in a way. Like it looks simple and elegant. Like
they actually knew what to put their time into.
100%. Yes, I'm super stoked. I had no idea that this thing existed until a few minutes ago.
Yay! I did my job.
Apparently, the budget is 140 million.
Wow!
Wow! I hope they polish a few things up because the one thing that I thought was a little lo-fi was the rhino and the squid on the beach.
Oh,
sure. Yeah, the squid looked a little whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was dead. To be fair, probably.
It seemed a little lifeless to me.
That's a nice segue. And speaking of a little lifeless, the next trailer I want to talk about.
Ooh,
speaking of Ben,
shots fired. Oh
yeah, and it's time for Bando America and Captain Stone. No, it's Captain America: The Brave New World trailer, which dropped inauspiciously the other week. So, following on from Falcon and the Winter Soldier's less than stellar reception, I think we can say, hey, remember the Flag Smashers? No, because they were shit. Some of the worst MCU villains ever, until Secret Invasion came along and went, hey, we can be shitter. So, finally, at last, here comes Anthony Mackie's first time headlining an MCU movie as Captain America as he took the mantle at the end of the series. And all we really glean from the trailer is that Harrison Ford, now replacing John Hurt, is President Ross, cue, mustache, and don't you look different jokes, which, of course, they did straight at fucking away. And he wants Sam's Captain America to be part of the US government going forward. And he's just hinted at with a lovely villainous shot of Ford literally rubbing his hands and turning to the camera. He says, we'll show the world a better way forward. Okay, calm down, Han. Jesus. And then at the speech, former super soldier Isaiah Bradley, one of the best parts of the TV show, has been triggered and just tries to shoot the president. Well, not too relevant at all here today. We do get a few shots of the new Falcon, Danny Ramirez, definite new bad guy, Giancarlo Esposito, Shira Haas as Ruth Bat Seraph. Yes, that's a character's actual name, Ruth Bat Seraph, an Israeli former Black Widow and ally of President Ross. Also on the cast list, but not in the trailer, returning from previous Hulk films, apparently are Tim Blake Nelson's Samuel Stearns, a.k.a. the leader, and Liv Tyler's Betsy Ross, now the president's daughter, so she's probably going to be put in danger at some point as well. Lots of guns, lots of missiles, stuff exploding, and a really meh last line for me where Ford says, "You're not Steve Rogers," and he goes, "You're right, I'm not." With the least amount of charisma I think I've seen in fucking ages. And then, because I think they realised that's a bad line to end the trailer on, you get your, which you want, Jose, you get your one shot in your Marvel trailer at the end, and it's a post-credit shot of the Red Hulk crushing the shield. So, Jose, go wild.
So, I've initially watched it. I was meh but for two parts. The part where he breaks the sound barrier. I actually was like, that's a little cheesy because he doesn't have
his face would melt off.
Yeah, I'm like, he's not completely encapsulated like Iron Man did in the first movie, and we've already seen it. We should have done something else with the wings. But to be honest, when I saw the Red Hulk, I was like, whoa, okay. I honestly thought they would hold off on that for a little bit. But
they probably know what the film is, so they need to get people in for the Hulk smash goodness.
But the second time I watched it, I caught more of the Isaiah Bradley's brainwashing moment. And I realized, oh, okay, that's what they're going with. I didn't realize it was him. I thought it was just some random person. And also, if you notice, a lot of the scenes, they're taken from, it looks like what would be a big fight scene with the pink flowers. What's those called? What are those trees called?
Cherry blossoms.
Cherry blossoms. So I think that's going to be a big set piece for a fight scene, is with the cherry blossom trees in the background. But yeah, I mean, I think I am watching it again and letting it sink in. I think I'm more interested. I also found out that Emily Van Camp is actually confirmed to be in this cast. Yeah, I'm definitely more interested. I'm back to maybe more of a 7 to 8 when originally...
An 8, really?
I'm interested. I mean, it's a very low 8. Low 8.
I mean, look. So for me, mate, the good is that they're going for a relatively non-superpowered thing here again. They're going for like, the political thriller, which, Winter Soldier and Civil War was kind of what they tried doing there.
Yeah.
And they were some of the best Marvel films. So good idea. But the Isaiah brainwashing thing, that's just a retread of what they did in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, and it annoys me because they've already kind of pulled this trick with, when you hear Isaiah's story in the show, you're always like, that's really fucking dark. It's also the best part of the show.
Yeah,
that would be worth exploring more. And then they go, oh no, we're just going to make him the villain. Obviously, he's not going to be the main villain, but it's almost like, when you watch WandaVision and you're like, fucking right, you're fully on Team Wanda at the end. You're like, you've gone through those episodes, you've shared the heartbreak of what the character's gone through, and then Sam Raimi, like, I love Multiverse of Madness, I really fucking enjoy it, and she's like, no, but she's evil now, and fuck everything that happened in the film.
Yeah,
not wrong.
Is that like that Isaiah Bradley bit? Like, is that confirmed that he's been brainwashed?
I'm assuming so.
Or do we think that like the president is really the bad guy and he's the only one that knows it? And
that's
like,
the clever way to do it.
That might be the move.
I mean,
he was so disenfranchised. Like, that'd be a great move to do.
Yeah.
Well, why would he try to do it then? I don't know.
Because that's the only time he'd get close to him. I mean, like, there's ways to move that plot along quite easily, I think. But like, I don't know that they're going to be that adventurous or even.
I don't think so either.
Like a hero like that, like like who did his part in the war and stuff, and then got like shunned, is probably more likely to be angry about it than anything else. In the eyes of those moments, I guess.
Later in the trailer, it looks like there's a room where he was submitted to, kind of like with the Winter Soldier. There's a room where they kind of have that it's set up to look like a torture room. Like this is where they brainwashed him.
It was Rhino Sex Dungeon. That's what that is.
There we go, Rhino Sex Dungeon.
I mean, no Rhino in this trailer.
That's a new hashtag. Hashtag Rhino Sex Dungeon in their Twitter.
Jesus.
You just don't know the show because it doesn't have a rhino in it. That's what it is.
That's exactly it, man. I'm not going to lie.
There we go. No rhino, no excitement.
So Ben, how many rhinos do you give this trailer on your excitement level?
Rhinos don't get me that excited. I don't know. Like it's
give you the horn.
Whoa! Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it looks alright. It's not like they did just. Like the trailer sort of escaped, didn't it? It didn't really get released.
Yeah.
It sort of broke out. And they're releasing it on Valentine's Day as well, which I noticed is weird.
What?
Like, yes.
Oh my goodness, you're right.
So like, I texted my girlfriend and said, like, have a watch of this. Like, it's pretty good. And she was like, oh yeah. I was like, Valentine's Day date. And she was like, yeah, cool. But like...
And are you single now?
No, bless her. She's still got a server community service. Yeah, I don't know. It just like I watched it and I was like, "It's cool. It's a Marvel movie. It'll be what it'll be." But I don't think any of us expect these Marvel movies to be what they were. Like,
well, Ben, there is a little film coming out in probably by the time this podcast come out, might be the biggest film of the year.
Actually, you know what?
Oh wait, Ben's on his bullshit still. He's trying to admit it's not a film until he's seen it.
Still else we're talking about.
Josh, what did you think?
Absolutely loved it. I'll take a quick diversion here real quick. I was at the back of Hall H in like probably 2014 loading in for Yoga Hosers, and I'm carrying in like a big piece of like the big bad because they did like a big costume set piece. And I have to ask this old man to get out of my way. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. And he turned around and it's fucking Indiana Jones and he smiles at me. And I'm just like, fucking Indy smiled at me. And he just like, he had such a good time backstage at Hall H. Like he'd never done anything like that, like Comic-Con or whatever.
Oh,
he was
man.
such a sweetheart of a motherfucker. I'm fucking like firmly against all y'all. I love Marvel. I'm a fanboy. I don't give a shit. I like Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I love it all. Like I love the TV show. I like Secret Invasion. Like, I think it's all great. It's all my childhood brought to life. I'm all about it.
So you're 14 years old?
I am. Never grew up. Nick size too.
Yeah, you know what? I think Ford in this is going to be like, he's going to have fun, isn't he? Like Ford is going to be, you can already see in the trailer, he's going to be slightly sketchy. He might be the bad guy, he might not be. Or probably what's going to happen is he's probably just like spitballing. He's probably going to be like, push Sam too far and they're going to have a big tiff about it and then shit will happen. And then, well, I mean, I think we're fairly certain that he's going to become the Red Hulk at some
100%. 100%.
So,
I feel like he's been taken out of the trailer to avoid spoiling that.
But they're both in the trailer, Jose.
No, but I'm saying there's parts in the trailer that like you could tell that something's happening, but he was probably taken out.
the standard Marvel. Wait, what's in that empty space in the trailer?
Right? Yeah, exactly. So I think there's going to be a lot of fun with the Red Hulk.
And the addition of Giancarlo Esposito has got to be amazing. But they apparently did all of that in reshoots. So just adding in a completely new character makes me wonder, what it is and what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like I said, they need to go with less power, less superhero based, more political thriller, I think is what they're trying to go for. A bit more sort of street level until we get Hulk turn up in it. And again, looking at the trailer, you see these people in it, but I suppose because it's the first trailer, right? I think perhaps we're being a bit too harsh because it's the first trailer.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like setting the tone for the movie. Right, political thriller. Ford and Sam they're probably not going to get along. And then they probably will at some point because there'll be some other threat they've got to stop. Yay, America at the end, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yay, America, upwards inflection.
I think I'm at about a 5 out of 10 on this at the minute. I just need to see more. I need to see more.
10 out of 10. Going all in.
Ben out of Ben, what are you going for?
I'm like 6, 7-ish. Like it looks fun. I'm like with like the Hollywood blockbusters.
Numbers.
Yeah, I like. I'm like with numbers. They're all letters to me. But yeah, like I think like 6. Let's go 6.5 because it's going to be a laugh. I think it's going to be fun.
Do you? I don't think it's going to be a comedy. I think it's going to be like a bit more serious.
It's going to be
fun.
Yeah.
You're going to enjoy yourself. Okay. It's not like, to be fair though, I wouldn't mind seeing a Harrison Ford, like, buddy comedy. That'd be good, man. It's now time for what we've been watching. And the thing I've watched most in the last week or so, bizarrely, and I've mainlined the whole thing in 2 days, was that 90s show, season 2.
Okay.
Oh, God.
And I know. I don't know why.
Fucking Jason Mewes in it.
Playing Jay and Silent Bob, but talkie.
Yeah, but in the... Wait, they're playing... he's playing Cheech's son, isn't he, in it? Apparently. Yeah. So I completely forgot they were in it. Because I remember it was in all the press about it. And I just when I was away last week, I was like, I just need something short and not too brain taxing, which that show is. Well, and you kind of enjoy it. Like, it's not great. It's not great at all. But yeah,
I mean, there's always room for brain dead move TV shows and stuff.
And that will literally fill that space in my life last week, as you did. Obviously, The Boys, which we'll be doing up to date on The Boys, which is coming to an end very soon, and we're going to be doing a spoiler special on The Boys. Up to date on The Acolyte, which we're also going to be doing a spoiler special on very soon as well. But a show I started on, because I'm on my Irish crime drama kick at the minute, which you might remember from the last podcast, Jose. I found another one. So we had Bodkin, we had Kin, and we had Obituary, and now I found Blue Lights, which is about 3 rookie cops in Belfast in Northern Ireland, and just about them learning the ropes. Also, it's got Sheriff Dan Anderson from Fortitude in it. He also was the fire guy who kept getting killed in Game of Thrones and then coming back to life. That guy, he's fucking awesome. It's just a really good show. Like, I was kind of like, it's got a bit of humour to it. You just see so many shitty little teenagers in like these Irish shows where they're like, just like throwing bottles at cars, and like, the cops every morning when they start their shift, they have to check underneath their cars for car bombs, even in this day and age. And that kind of threw me. I was like, what, even still now? And yeah, apparently so. But the good news on that show is there are 2 seasons out already. I've only watched the first 2 episodes. It's like, yep, I'm into that. 8 episodes a season, so I got 14 more to go. And they've confirmed they're going to make 2 more seasons of it already. So yay, good. So the first thing I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail is it's one of the big horror films of the year that I saw last week, and that is MaXXXine. From director Ty West comes the third in his Mia Goth trilogy, following on from X and its prequel Pearl, which were filmed back-to-back in New Zealand during COVID. This time we catch up with MaXXXine in 1985 after the events of X, and she has made her way to Hollywood where she's conquered the adult film world and now has her set sight on real Hollywood films. Her agent, Teddy Knight Esquire, is played by none other than Giancarlo Esposito. As they try to get her a real movie, well, it's a horror sequel called The Puritan 2, starring Lily Collins as Molly Bennett. And, it's as real as a slasher sequel is compared to porn, I guess. So she auditions for, like, the hard-nosed British director Elizabeth Bender. She's played by Elizabeth Debicki, and she gets the part. But while all this is playing out, it's playing out against the backdrop of the real-life Night Stalker case. You get a shady PI played disgustingly sleazily by Kevin Bacon, and he's trying to bring her past back to, like, taunt her with and, like, blackmail her. But as we know, if you've seen X or Pearl, MaXXXine won't let anything interfere with her mission to become a star. The rest of the cast is equally great. You've got Moses Sumney, who I'd never heard of before, as Leon, a video store clerk and MaXXXine's best friend. And I didn't realise this guy is a musician as well. And this is only his second acting role. And he was actually, he played a guy called Isaac in The Idol, the HBO show, that apparently was terrible and no one really watched. Well, apparently he can do it all. That brings us to another music star in the film, and that's singer Halsey. And I think this is also her second on-screen role, playing a character that, again, is not herself or animated, which she had done quite a few times before anyway. And again, she does do very well with the very little screen time she has. Now, as mentioned, Giancarlo Esposito is MaXXXine's agent, and I really enjoy his performance in this film. The irony of him playing an agent when he literally must have one of the best agents in Hollywood. You know, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, The Mandalorian, The Boys, everything else we just fucking mentioned, Captain America. The man is superb in everything, and in this film, it's no exception. You've even got a one-scene cameo from Yellow Jacket's Sophie Thatcher as an FX artist, which was cool. I love West's editing and direction in this film. He uses some great 80s style techniques like the split screens. You got constant ominous TV reports in the background warning of the threat of the Night Stalker. I love all the hidden and not so hidden X's in the frame throughout this film. So there's, you know, a moment of peril, there'll be a big X in the background behind the character. I thought that was really well done.
Oh, that's cool.
Once you notice it once, you're like, shit, he's doing this all the time. Yeah, he really wears his influences on his sleeve. You know, Pearl, as I said, was basically the Wizard of Oz crossed with Psycho. And you get a lot more Psycho homages here. Even the set of the Bates Motel, because they're making, obviously, 85. I think they're making, like, Psycho 2 at the time. So you have that set actually there, which is really cool. And there's a great echo of the previous films here. The unseen killer also wears squeaky black gloves, which were a trademark of the Italian giallos of the 70s and 80s. And really reminiscent of Dario Argento's Tenebrae, and that's definitely worthy of a double bill with MaXXXine. Plenty of Brian De Palma references as well, with links to Body Double. You know, both those films focus on the duality of the porn and real-world Hollywood as well, and both use a needle drop from the same classic 80s band. From a production aesthetic, West just creates this sleazy, grimy 1980s Hollywood, and I think that MaXXXine's iconic green varsity jacket she wears for quite a bit of the film, that is going to be an easy Halloween choice for everyone you're going to see this year. There's two brilliant LAPD detectives, William and Torres, played by Michelle Monaghan and Bobby Cannavale, and again, they do so much with such limited screen time. I would easily happily watch a spin-off film with just their characters because they were so entertaining. So, where does this film stand in the trilogy? Well, Pearl was like a horrific melodrama, which really allowed Gloff to flex her acting muscles, whereas X was more akin to, you know, a modern version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Probably even more so than the actual Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake that came out the other year that they filmed in fucking Bulgaria. MaXXXine is more a 70s-style adult thriller than an outright horror film, and as great as Goff is in the role, she doesn't get that big moment like she does in Pearl, though her steadfastness in refusing to take any shit is just breathtaking once again. I did have some issues with the ending in the film, in particular the reveal of the killer. It's more a huh moment than a wow, but I'd enjoyed the film so much it didn't detract from it from me. Overall, I think this is kind of a really good closer to the trilogy. It utilises key moments of both Pearl and X, but as I've said, this is more a 70s-style gritty thriller than an out-and-out horror film. So I can understand that some horror films might see this and think, oh, it's not as gory, it's not like as horrific as the other films. But West, he straddles three different genres within the same trilogy, right? He's like, that's so clever what he's done with it. And apparently this might not actually be the end of the story either, because West said in February he had plans for a fourth film, which would depend on the reaction to the third film. Well, it's done pretty good so far, and in May, he's already confirmed that he's working on the fourth film, and it might even be his next project. And also, you probably want to get Mia Goth locked in before she becomes an even bigger star, just like MaXXXine. And breathe.
Ooh. So now another question is, if you're not a horror fan, but you like suspense and thrillers, is this something you would recommend?
Yes, but it does have some super gory moments in it. But you're like, holy fuck, they did that.
Okay. So, but it's not throughout the entire movie, so it's something I could still enjoy. Excellent.
You can take your hands away from your eyes at a few points, Jose.
So, fun fact, I'm going to mention it now because I don't know how many more times we're going to mention Giancarlo Esposito.
7 or 8.
Yeah, but I realized I actually have a photo with him.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah, I went to a local con, MetroCon. No, wait, was it MetroCon? In Tampa. I went with 2 other friends who I cropped out. But yeah, I forgot that until just now you've been mentioning how much he's done. And I'm like, wait a minute. That was way back in 2023. A whole full year from now, actually, give or take.
But Jose, the important question is, have you seen Pearl or X?
I have not, but I think I might actually...
And moving on to...
Nice.
Really quickly, I was at the Powerhouse Bar 2 weeks ago down in downtown Hollywood, and like in walks like a fucking gaggle of people, like huge amount of people, they had just had the MaXXXine premiere, and like it was the whole cast and crew. It wasn't like Giancarlo, he didn't come, but it was like the crew, and like I think the Mia Goth was there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
She has the strangest regular voice. She sounds like a posh Victorian child when she speaks.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah, that's a fun little fact.
Did you hear about the drama on set? She got accused of that's
what?
brutal.
Apparently beat up an extra or something.
And then said, nobody will believe you because you're nobody. She is married to Shia LaBeouf, right? So that kind of tracks.
Ooh. Wow. Holy moly.
Just saying.
Wow.
The publicist did a very good job of keeping that quiet the last couple of weeks, haven't they?
Wow. That's crazy.
A little tea.
But, I was going to say, Josh, but have you seen X or Pearl? And if you had, what did you think?
I've seen X, absolutely adored it. I'm not a horror film guy. Like, horror films scare me. I don't like being scared. So my friend drugged me, and I watched it, and I absolutely loved it. But I never did see Pearl, and I want to see this. I want to see them both. Like, I love Ty West. Like, what he does with a limited budget is just next level.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing of doing Pearl. Like, I mean, they were in New Zealand when COVID hit, because X was shot in New Zealand, and then they were just like, well, we're here, we could just do another film. And obviously, the only place in the world that film production could go on at that point, and it was like, okay. And like the fact he just sat down with Mia Goth and they wrote it together, it's such a weird film, because like, you know, say X is just like, you know, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre style horror. And then Pearl, you're expecting the same again, and it's not. It's like this 30s melodrama with a few really horrific bits, and just fucking amazing. Like someone said, it's just like a really, really fucked up version of The Wizard of Oz without the singing. I mean, she does dance with a scarecrow at one point, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
So, well, how would you rate the trilogy then? Because it seems like it's a pretty nice set of films.
I love the fact that he jumps between different genres within the same trilogy. You know, you've got melodrama, you've got flat out horror, and then this is like 70s style, gritty, grimy Hollywood sex thriller as well. So it's I mean, this is the most budget I think he's had on a film on MaXXXine, and the biggest cast he's had. And you can just see, I mean, like Kevin Bacon, Elizabeth Debicki, Giancarlo, all that lot in there. And like all the musicians who are in it as well. Like, yeah, I was a real big fan. Ben, you're not a horror guy either, are you? So
correct.
Well, in that case, let's move on to.
You didn't answer my question though. What would you rate the trilogy?
Rate it really good. Do you want a
10.
numerical number?
I want a numerical number.
How many rhino horns?
Yeah, I'm giving it 8 rhino horns. Powdered rhino horns.
Ooh, controversial.
That's endangered, man. You can't do that.
What are you doing, Jose? I'm going to report you to Peter.
Oh, no.
Jose, what have you been watching?
So I've gone in the similar direction of your 90s show, and I've decided to watch a movie to turn my brain off, and it's called Atlas, starring Jennifer Lopez. Surprisingly, also a pretty good supporting cast. Simu Liu, who, you know, he hasn't done a whole lot, but he's very big for, you know, Shang-Chi. Sterling K. Brown, which I feel like he was underused in that film. And Mark Strong also has a nice bit part in there, beginning and end of the movie. Honestly, when I first saw it, the trailer, I was just like, this is going to be a piece of crap. And then when I saw a friend of mine post on Facebook, he said, this is a surprisingly fun film, worth a watch. So then, okay, I was like, let me look into it. And it's basically a little bit of a ripoff of iRobot, where Jennifer Lopez plays a character who has been basically, what's the word I'm looking for?
Forced to make this movie.
Yeah. Well, like the world has been taken over by, or like there's androids basically that have become terrorists, and she's tracking down one particular one who's the leader. I think it's worth a watch, so I'm not going to go further into the plot, but what made it interesting is these mechs that she's in, and it mostly is practical with obviously like heads-up displays that are digital graphics. And I think they did a good job of showing off a lot of what they could do in that. Granted, like the dialogue is pretty good, but it could have been way better seeing the cast and who's involved. But,
I mean, yeah, when you tell me Mark Strong
and Sterling K. Brown, you know, you think, okay, great. But I mean, it's a fun movie. Like, it's actually, you know, it follows through on what it says it's going to deliver. Lots of good visuals, lots of good fighting.
Mate, when I saw it was a Netflix original starring Jennifer Lopez, and it was a sci-fi film. I was like, and I'm out. I didn't even watch the trailer.
You and I were on the same page. I think it was one of those things where if you have a little bit of time, maybe you've been drinking or consuming other items,
or you're in some other way incapacitated and can't press stop.
If you've lost 70% of your brain, watch this film.
It's not a smart film, but it's actually honestly fun to watch. It's you'll have a couple moments where you're like, that doesn't make sense. Why did they do that? But overall, you're enjoying it and you're having a fun time. And the ending still kind of makes sense. You know, it's not one of those where the ending is weird or it just comes out of nowhere. It's a little plain, but overall, it delivers what it says it's going to deliver. And
I thought it was a big mech Atlas thing. Why are they on a little plane?
A little plane?
That was a joke, Jose. It was a joke.
Yes, I highly recommend it. I don't want to give away too much. But I feel like if anything, you'll know what the ending will be, but you'll be fine with it. And yeah, it's worth a watch. It's like a 5. It's a solid 5.
I'm not going to watch it, Jose. I'm just not.
I'm absolutely going to watch it because it sounds like the kind of car crash television I want to get into.
There we go.
You do like car crash television.
I do. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Stuff, yeah.
Yes. Actually, I want to see your review of it after you watch it.
Okay, Ben, you've been set a mission.
I will watch it and I will put it in the group chat or maybe even talk about it on the pod.
There we go.
Bearing in mind, I feel the only reason you watch all of Jennifer Lopez's films, Jose, is because that literally was your nickname when we worked together.
J-Lo, yes. I literally had a name badge with the J-Lo on it, and so many people stopped to talk to me about it. It's hilarious because they thought, oh, you are a fan of J-Lo, and I'm like, no, my name is Jose Lopez. So. Yeah.
Let's go to our guest, Josh. What have you been watching recently?
I just watched Long Legs at Prince Charles Cinema last week.
Ooh, nice.
So I'm going to let you take the reins on it, but the Prince Charles Cinema was absolutely breathtaking. Like, what a great experience.
Still not been there, and it's like the
so
top
good.
indie cinema in the UK, isn't it? It's just
I mean, like earlier that day they had Man Bites Dog in 35mm. The other day they had Taxi Driver in 35mm. It's not as big of a screen as I thought it'd be because they show a lot of 70 there. So I thought it'd really be like a giant screen, but it's not. It's really small, but like everybody respected the rules. People weren't on their phones. I don't know if that's a UK thing. It's not a US thing.
It might be the theater thing.
I think it's I think it's definitely a theater thing.
Love it.
Yeah. I still got to go. They do all-nighters, so like you go in at like 8 o'clock at night and they'll play films right through till like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
I was like, well, they need a hotel, so I'm definitely going to do that. Ben, what have you been watching recently?
Yeah, carrying on Jose's theme of trash on Netflix. I dived headfirst into Beverly Hills Cop Axel F and thought it was fucking brilliant.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. So Detective Axel Foley's up to his usual tricks in Detroit when Billy Rosewood, like his old buddy from LA, who was a LA cop, he's now a private detective. He contacts him for help. He's been working with Axel Foley's daughter, Jane Saunders, who is a lawyer, and she's involved in this high-profile case. And she's been threatened. After Billy reaches out to Axel for help, Billy goes missing. So Axel jumps on a plane, and it's about him trying to save Billy and reconnect with his daughter because he's left her in LA and gone back to Detroit, where he's the fast-paced, loudmouth cop. And he comes back to LA, and the usual hijinks ensue. I would say that it's not got the kind of slick chops from Axel Foley in this as I would have liked to have seen. I can't really put my finger on why, but there's something about the way it's written is they've kind of taken the edge off of the character a little bit, which I don't know if that's if they're just trying to rein Eddie Murphy in a little bit, or he's not quite got that anymore.
That's where I would land.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think so. I think they're reining Eddie Murphy in because have you seen some of his interviews on Late Night?
No,
he's still very sharp. He's still very sharp.
That's upsetting then because they could have written that character a little more like he was. He's reconnected with his daughter and stuff, and you kind of I get that there's that side. There's got to be a softer side to the character, but the opening sting where he's in Detroit, obviously he has to foil some sort of ridiculous crime before he flies off to prove how much of a great cop he is. He kind of sets another cop up to take the credit for a bust.
Oh, cool.
But only because he's not allowed to do it. So he starts off quite well. He's still being quite sly, and he's but there's even a point in the movie where he goes to con some guy. He goes into this big exuberant like over the top. I can't believe, like you would do in the other movies. And then he just stops flat out and goes, you know what, I'm not even doing this. And his daughter kind of takes over. And it's like, it's funny, but it's like, I wouldn't have minded seeing a little bit more of that. But that being said, that was my only real sort of down point in it. Kevin Bacon's in it as
wow,
like as he's in everything these days.
7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Wait a minute, is Giancarlo Esposito in it as well?
Probably somewhere. I just didn't notice him.
Background actor.
Yeah,
is there a rhino involved?
There's no rhinos. No rhinos were.
Was it dirty? Was it dirty? Like dirty comedy, like he used to do? Or was it more neutered, like modern day?
Yeah, it was more.
Yeah,
it was a little bit more clean. A little bit.
He's just so hungry for awards. He started doing shit like Mr. Church and all that shit, and he just he got Cosby'd, but not in that way.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, dude,
I got nothing from that. Like that. I saw Josh.
In the terms of him, like in the terms of it, like being, like Eddie Murphy being neutered a little bit.
Yeah.
How many times does he say motherfucker then?
Oh, very few. I don't even think that's in there. It's weird, but like it does land on a nostalgia point of view quite hard, because they do keep Billy. I forget the other. So Billy had a partner in it, and that the partner, the older guy, is now the police chief. So he's the one yelling at Axel to stop, breaking stuff and smashing up, police cars. And they really, he goes pretty hard on the LAPD. They've got like an electric car, and he's like, they arrest him, put him in the back of this little BMW electric car, and he rips the shit out of him for it. It's very funny.
Oh,
man. So there is some glimmers in there for that old sort of comedy, but it's just not quite what it was. But the soundtrack is fantastic. The musically, it's exactly the same. There's every single cameo you could think of from all the other movies. So
awesome.
It's worth a watch. I think I enjoyed it more than I will enjoy Atlas. And
I believe that.
And I've definitely enjoyed that movie a lot more than a lot of the others I've seen. I don't know. I feel like if I was to compare it to something, it's almost like Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Okay.
Where it's got a bit of the nostalgia, but it's not quite what I hoped it would be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think a part of it is in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, the quality or the content of the comedy was a lot more abrasive.
Yeah.
I think we let a lot more slide back then, and now writers, they want to be that funny, and there's some stuff out there that's really good, but it's technically on the fringe end of comedy, because these movies are meant for the masses, and I think a lot of people are just being a little bit safer, maybe too safe. And these are characters like that were not supposed to be your average character. These are characters who are supposed to be a little more like out there, like you said,
bigger than life.
He doesn't say motherfucker more than like twice,
Yeah.
And so it's definitely like with Die Hard, they really mixed up John McClane and they made him this thing that he wasn't, because I just rewatched highlights of Die Hard with a Vengeance, and I'm like, man, this movie is so much more roughed up than I remembered, in a good way. Samuel L. Jackson cursing up a storm, and I'm like, man, it really isn't the same anymore. Like with good movies, they definitely polished them up a little bit. I think, honestly, that's why I think Deadpool's such a great film right now and doing so well. I rewatched the first two. That's where I felt like back where things were just let loose a little more. And I think when you take something from an old era from the 90s that was really just out there and try to do it now, it's just hard to capture that magic again.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Deadpool stuff works because it almost says it before the movie. Like, it's almost like this is going to be offensive. They flat out say this is what it is going to be.
There's pegging jokes
in the trailer.
It's not. Shut the fuck up! I haven't seen the trailers yet. The movie doesn't exist, guys. I'm being so careful. I want to go in so
By
fresh
the way,
to that
Ben,
movie.
Wolverine is in the movie. I hate to break it to you.
And I bet there isn't even a pool in it.
Strangely, no Deadpool.
No Deadpool, just a Wolverine movie. He's just carrying a doll around with him, all in his head.
Logan,
you mean Clint Eastwood's not going to be in it?
Oh,
Quickly,
Deep cut.
did you watch you couldn't watch it, but did you hear about the pilot they did for Beverly Hills Cop that they tried to get off the ground for a minute? Yeah, it was him and his daughter. Yeah, I was pretty stoked about it, but it went nowhere, didn't get picked up, so nobody's ever seen it.
From what I heard, it was a different actor who was supposed to play his son.
Oh,
So I guess
that tracks.
But I don't know if it was the same, because it could be multiple versions of a reboot or a show.
Sure.
I think coming back to Axel F, solid 6 out of 10. Like, it's just better than fine out of 10.
Is that like an 8 out of 10 for Netflix original movies?
Yes, it's a Netflix
Yeah.
8.
Netflix 8.
Yes.
That's high praise. It's high praise.
Yeah.
All right, Jose. What else? You got another thing. You got another barrel in the chamber. Hit us with it.
Yes, this time I decided to put my thinking cap on, or at least be a little more.
Barrel is part of the chamber. You got another round in the chamber.
I was gonna make a Donald Trump joke, but
Oh, let's be careful with that.
We're gonna miss there. Just like
there you
this.
go.
Attaboy.
He got there.
There we go. I watched a more interesting film, The Holdovers, which won a couple of nice awards. And one of the most interesting facts is the Dominic Sessa was the main character, Angus Tully. I was watching the DVD on my iPad, and they had little tidbits coming up on the screen.
Wait. How do you watch a DVD on your iPad?
No, I
You hook
streamed
up-
it. I streamed it to Amazon Prime. It's on Amazon Prime. And
So there's no DVD. You watched it on streaming. So that just blew my mind a little bit there, Jose. I was like, wait, you've got a DVD player hooked up to an iPad. How? Why?
Yes.
Okay, now we're clear. You streamed
Yes.
it. It's fine.
And
Continue.
one little fun fact is that they had a hard time coming up with an actor for his character. And what they ended up doing is the area that they were in, they asked the local theaters, "Hey, do you have any potential people that could play this character?" And so this guy, it's his first film, Dominic Sessa, and he just kind of blew it out of the water. You know, he just did a great job being very annoying, but also like seeing that he's struggling with something. The film is great. It's a slow burn for sure, but everyone does great performances. Divine Joy Randolph,
Won the Oscar, didn't she?
yeah, she's totally deserved it. Very subtle, nuanced acting in that. And then Paul Giamatti's great as always as a curmudgeon.
Oh, Giamatti.
I still don't understand how he did the eye thing, you know, and he
Right?
he
Yeah, it looks
never
interesting.
elaborated. Yeah, he never elaborated whether it was just CGI or he kind of alluded a little bit of practical, and I was just like, and the characters really brought me in, and honestly, it was just a great performance all around. And one of the things that I found out before I even watched this movie is they did as much as they could filming this movie like they would have when in the 1970s they found older lenses. They copied lighting techniques, and they tried to be authentic as much as they could with the wardrobe. So I thought it was a really good effort to make the movie be kind of like an authentic feel.
Yeah, we got this in the end of January, and it's a Christmas movie. It is a Christmas movie. So everyone was like, why didn't you just release it at Christmas in the UK? Yeah, man. I mean, it's an Alexander Payne film, right? So, you know, Election, Sideways. He's a superb director, man. And he does, all his films are those kind of comedy dramas, you know, dramedy, you call it. You know, it's a drama with just enough comedy in it for it to not be too fucking disturbing and dark.
And sad.
And sad, yeah. And yeah, like Paul Giamatti, man. I mean, the man could do no wrong, can't he? Oh, well, actually, he said that he's going to be the lead in a Hostel TV series, so that could go badly fucking wrong.
Oh
Yeah.
God! Well, no.
Yeah.
You see the picture of him with his award in an Outburger after the
Yeah.
I just that made me love that man so much. I was like, of course, he's just gone straight to In and Out. He's like, fuck all this Hollywood bullshit. I'm gonna get me a fucking burger, some animals, some fries,
Chill with my Oscar.
my Oscar, just hang out on the table there.
I mean, we should actually mention, Jose, what the film is about.
Oh, it's about yes, that would be helpful. Yes.
Generally in reviews, yeah.
So Paul Giamatti plays a professor at a private school for high schoolers. I don't know if you understand the term. Year 12s or something. Year 8 till 12.
They started calling the secondary schools high schools over here. We get it.
Gotcha. So it's
We're a
private
worldwide
school, high
podcast.
school. There we go. And it's a Christmas break, and Paul Giamatti gets kind of screwed over, and he kind of pissed off the headmaster. So that way, he gets tasked to watching the few kids that stay over Christmas break. We get introduced to Mary. We understand that her son used to go to the school. He went to the military and passed away. and she's still kind of grieving after some time, and so we see them create a little bit of a bond throughout the it's actually only over 2 weeks, but it's really well done. So they take as much of their time with every scene, and you really grow with these characters, and then it goes into a slightly different direction near the end of the film, and you learn more about the younger character.
Yeah, I mean, I really the trailer for this was brilliant. Like you say about 70s aesthetic, right? Like the trailer. I remember the very end of the trailer is there's a scene where they're like having an argument, and he like runs into a gym. He's like, "That's your Rubicon. Don't cross it."
Yes.
And he just runs and jumps on the trampoline, and then you see his face, and there's a freeze frame on Jim at his face, and then you just hear like the smashing sound and hear the kids screaming. I was like, "What is this film?" Like the fact it's got the balls to end on a freeze frame, and then the sound carries over of someone just screaming in agony. It's like that is bizarre, man. But like it made me want to see it even more.
Yes, what's great is what happens after that moment is so hilarious. So it's definitely worth watching. Obviously, it won the Oscars. I don't know if I want to say 10 out of 10 because it just seems too.
It's a 9. It's a solid
definitely
9.
A 9. It's definitely a solid 9. Just because it is a slower movie. It's not something that anything crazy happens, but very enjoyable. I highly recommend it.
Ben, have you seen The Holdovers?
I haven't. It's the only one of that batch of movies that won all the awards that I haven't yet put eyes on. But every time people speak about it, they speak nothing but good things.
I would say it's something good to watch while having some tea.
Tea?
So racist today.
So racist against the English. I'm going to come over to Boston and throw some tea in the fucking water again, Jose. That's what I'm going to do.
I haven't actually seen the film, but I've been really wanting to. The thing that made me hesitant was that whole kerfluffle about the script. I guess there was a famous writer who wrote a very, very, very identical script, and he claimed they ripped my concept off. So I haven't seen it for that reason, but I love the techniques, like you can see it in the trailer, and like you said, like the continuing with the audio with a paused frame, like that's so like 70s quintessential cinema. It looks absolutely delicious. I can't wait to watch it.
I would say for both of you guys, just wait a few more months and wait another 5-6 months. Wait and watch it at Christmas because it is a Christmas film.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good shout.
We're in July. Holy moly!
Christmas in July. Do you remember that, Jose? No, let's not bring it up because it was weird. And those Santa Clauses, they were weird as well. Bunch of old
us Americans, we like to have fun when we can.
That's a cruise ship story, and we're going to stay away from them today, Jose. We're going to stay away from them. We were told last time. Ben, what else have you been watching?
I want to bring up another Netflix offering.
Oh no,
called Hitman. It's we watched it last night, and like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
like how much fun. I'm going to read.
Richard Linklater, man. Richard Linklater, one of my favourite directors.
He's great. So it's a professor moonlighting as a hitman of sorts for his city police department descends into dangerous, dubious territory where he finds himself attracted to a woman who enlists his services. So basically, the movie is about this kind of nerd of a teacher, of a lecturer, who finds himself in a situation because of his particular skills. He worked for the police, miking up and helping them on cases where they but they set up hitmen. They set up people trying to enlist the services of hitmen. So the idea is that there aren't actually really hitmen out there that you can just hire and have them kill people for you. But when you try to enlist the services of a hitman to kill someone, you can get done for like attempted murder. So he, this particular cop that he's working with, has a bit of a meltdown, and they have to send him in, Glenn Powell's character in, to take over. And it seems that he's got this gift to just be able to blag people and make them assume that he is a hitman. And he gets really good at snaring them in an undercover sense. Then he finds his stride and he gets really good at it. And then the love interest comes along and enlists his services, and they kind of fall in love, and there's a whole thing that this cop comes back onto the scene, the Glenn Powell's character, Gary his name's Gary Johnson as well, which is such a typical name, but
Blandy McBlanderson.
This cop comes back on the scene and he wants his job back, but he finds out that that Glenn Powell's Gary has been dating this woman, and it all becomes really embroiled. There's a couple of like accidental deaths that happen, and then there's a cover up that goes with it, and it's just fucking funny, man. Like like Glenn Powell absolutely smashes the shit out of this movie, and I honestly don't think it would have been any good without his portrayal.
Oh, definitely.
Like
very much so.
It's really, really excellently acted, and it's such a like almost a throwaway script because there's nothing surprising in there. Nothing happens out of the ordinary.
I beg to differ.
Yeah, the ending threw me for a loop. I thought it was going to keep going. It's just like, oh, cool. All right, I'll take that.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
I mean, I'm surprised. Have we not talked about this movie yet? Oh, I love this movie. I saw it when it came out. It's great, and I think Ben completely described it so well, where it really rests on Glenn Powell's shoulders. He really makes this movie so good with his ability to kind of morph into these characters. I think that we should have seen more of them, but the whole movie still worked really well. It's so well written.
But this is the thing, man, right? Linklater, his best stuff is just people walking around and talking. That is what he does.
Yeah.
Better than probably anyone.
Yeah, he's a talking head filmmaker for sure.
Yeah, like, when we did our top 10 romantic films of all time, my number one was Before Sunrise. And it's just Ethan Hawke and Judy Delpy walking around Vienna for one day. Not really. The only stakes are, at the end of the day, they had a nice night together. Should they see each other again? And then, yeah, they do, because he did another film every 10 years for the next 20 years. That's why it's one of Powell's best performances. And like you say, that's why he's so good in the film. Because obviously Linklater knows, right, sit down with the actor, and I'm guessing that's just his technique, right? If you that's the way you work, and you want the dialogue to come across crisp and just off the page like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also an actor always wants to like exercise a certain set of skills that they haven't in other ways. So when they write it themselves, they can write to their strengths and their weaknesses, and like that. Yeah, I think that's genius.
And like you say, you get that from Powell in that film. I mean, like, it's the year of Powell this year, isn't it? I'm going to see Twisters tomorrow.
Yes,
so I'm looking forward to that. It's funny, actually, slightly sidetracking it, but as we're talking about Glenn Powell, the idea of Twisters is insane to me, because the guy who's directing it is the same guy, the South Korean director who did, was it Lee Isaac Chung, who did Minari a couple of years ago, which was this like Stephen Young film, and it got loads of Oscar press. I think it won a couple of, I think it won Best Foreign Film that year. I can't remember exactly, but I know it got at least nominated for some Oscars and screenplay ones. And it was just about this South Korean immigrant family coming to Oklahoma, of all places, and like just struggling to acclimatize. And it was like a really small, gentle film about like this family and like the community and all that. And you would never think in a million years, yeah, that's the guy we're going to get to make a sequel to fucking Twister.
Right.
Giant disaster movie. And yet, from the advanced word on it and the previews and what I've read in the reviews coming out, everyone has said, no, that's exactly the guy you get, because he makes the characters, most of the characters anyway, so well drawn, and that sense of community and that Oklahoma vibe coming through the film. And he said it's literally like if you just had Minari but with an American cast and then threw some fucking tornadoes and twisters into it.
Wow. Okay, now I definitely need to watch Twisters.
Yeah, there's very few reviews I've seen so far where people have like, no shit. Like I've seen reviews saying it's better than the original. It's absolutely like big summer hit.
Wow.
It deserves to be. So
the original was actually really good. I remember that for a fact.
Yeah.
Helen Hunt.
There was a flying cow in it, so
it was a flying cow.
Didn't make a lick of sense, but it was a great movie.
And from what I've seen, I feel like I've seen Glenn Powell talk about how he's been a struggling actor for a while, and so while he was struggling, what he did is learn to do different things, like being a producer, being a writer, and I think it really shows.
Become friends with Tom Cruise. That probably helps a bit.
I mean, yeah, too. But I think all that hard work is finally paying off for him, and I'm really glad to see, because I've seen some social media posts where, what was it, on TikTok? One of the women that like is friends with his sister, and he's like wearing a funny cowboy hat and cooking dinner without a shirt on, and he's saying jokes to the person on TikTok, and so like he seems like a genuinely nice, funny guy. So I'm really glad to see him kind of.
Well, they're not going to put a video up on TikTok of him kicking a puppy, are they?
I mean, I would.
Sometimes you see that, and
that's because they've done way too many drugs and haven't realized that it's uploaded. That's why.
Yeah, but I mean, if anything, you still get a pretty good vibe from Glenn Powell, and I think his choices of movies. He was also in that one Hidden Figures as an astronaut. He was a nice astronaut.
Well, I think he worked first with Linklater on Everybody Wants Some as well, which was like the 80s college comedy.
Okay.
So that was kind of like the companion piece to Dazed and Confused as well.
Gotcha.
So I think that's one of the things that kind of helped launch Powell back then as well.
Fun fact, he was also in The Dark Knight. Do you know what he did in The Dark Knight?
No.
Oh, no. The Dark Knight Rises. He was in The Dark Knight Rises. When Bane goes into the stock exchange and he tells the guy, and there's a guy who's like, oh, there's no money here. He's like, then why are you here? That's Glenn Powell. You can go back and see him. It's such that, but you remember that role, right?
No.
Remember that part? Remember that?
That part? Yeah, you remember that part. And I was
I'll
like,
take your word for it, Jose. I'll take your word for it.
Go back and watch it and post on Twitter. It's like, holy crap, this is Glenn Powell. And then get Glenn Powell to
I'm
respond.
absolutely not going to watch the Dark Knight Rises again. It's the worst one of those two movies.
It's not great.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but it's still
it's the worst thing Nolan's ever done.
Oh, oof.
Anyway, moving on.
Moving on to probably, the number one film in America as we record this, other than Despicable Me 4, which is, again, great fucking marketing, and that is Longlegs. From director Osgood Perkins, son of Psycho star Anthony, comes a much-heralded Longlegs starring Nicolas Cage as the eponymous serial killer and Michael Monroe as FBI rookie agent Lee Harker. Now, Neon had done a superb job with the marketing of this film, ramping up the anticipation to a fever pitch with early review blurbs saying, "This is the best horror film of the last decade." And audiences seem to agree, with the film taking an estimated $23 million in its opening weekends against a budget reported to be under $10 million. However, is this really the scariest film of the last decade?
No.
No. Like, it's not even a gory film in any sense. You know, I saw MaXXXine the day before, and that had lashings of gore. And generally as well, it eschews jump scares for slow, ominous dread, with the brief flash of something horrific, punctuated by the film's score, but not in a cheesy crap horror film way. You know, I hate horror films where it's quite loud, quite loud, and you just jump because it's a fucking loud noise, not because, like Jose putting his hands in his fingers. Because of that, you're not. That's crap to me, because the film isn't making me jump. It's just a bit of music's making me jump.
Yeah,
put the volume up on. That's cheap, and so many crap horror films do that, man. But yeah, like the marketing really played this one up for the horror fans. So I can see why some people might be disappointed in the film, because I think it's clever marketing that actually has worked. Because, you know, everyone loves a good horror film, right? And so billing it as this outright satanic evil horror film, you're going to get more people into it than billing it as what the film actually is, which is just an FBI procedural about an FBI agent with a complex backstory herself, who maybe has some connection to the Longlegs case that has gone unsolved and solved for years. The film's main inspiration from the trailer looked, for me at the time, to be Silence of the Lambs. You know, young female agent on the trail of a serial killer. So the way I kind of pitched it last week was, imagine Silence of the Lambs, but without Hannibal Lecter. And it's just Clarice trying to stop Buffalo Bill.
Clarice,
do the lambs still scream? But for me, Longlegs has more in common with Seven in terms of
good call,
and the religious imagery, the links between the FBI agent and serial killer, the timing of the narrative where certain events occur in the film, which I was just like, that's bang on Seven when a certain event happens, shall we say. Michael Monroe, she's really getting a reputation of being in some shit hot, really good horror films. I mean, It Follows was the one that launched her, obviously. Then she was in The Watchers earlier in the year as well. And she just gives such a superb internalized performance. You really see the horror dawning on her face throughout the film. You know, she's not like, there's a few bits obviously where she's wildly emotive, which you need to be. But a lot of the time she's very buttoned down and repressed. She conveys all the emotions in her face, right, the further she goes down a rabbit hole. Cage, on the other hand, he knows his side of the man. He walks the line between. It's funny because he really walks a line between terrifying and hilarious, and I found myself laughing in certain points. But you know, I think we're supposed to. Yeah, because you're on that. It's that edge of, oh, this guy's really creepy as fuck. Oh, but that's really fucking funny. There are a lot of Cageisms in it, man. They've cast him to be Cage, and that's fine. You've got really good support in as well. You've got Blair Underwood as Agent Carter. Not that one, Ben. He's Lee's superior at the FBI, and you've got Alicia Witt's in it, and she plays Harker's mother, and she has a great role as well here. And there's an almost unrecognisable, at least to me, Kiernan Shipka in it. Yeah, Sabrina the Teenage Witch is in this, and she's definitely seen some fucking chilling tales, all right, when you see her in this, man. The cinematography by Andres Arocci and direction by Perkins is superb. Every frame of this film just drips menace. You got so many wide-angle shots that they draw your attention to the empty space for whatever terror's lurking there, and you just like keep looking. Why is there so much space on that side of the frame? Why is it there? If not to something to jump out at me. And of course, I'm not going to tell you if it does or not. It's just your hand, Jose. That didn't scare me. I really enjoyed the first hour of this film with a slow build up. However, once we get some answers to some of the film's set up for me, it maybe loses a bit of its dread. And I actually think the film could have gone further with its ending, and I was expecting to go in a slightly different direction. So for me, does Longlegs live up to the hype? Well, I think that depends on what you were expecting going in. If you're expecting a bloody satanic horror film that will make you jump with scares, you might feel a bit shortchanged due to the marketing. However, if you went in expecting a serial killer thriller that builds ominously and dreadfully throughout with some great acting by the full cast and just a sprinkling of prime cage, then this will totally be your bag. I think this is destined for cult status, and it's one of those films, even now, I only saw it maybe 4 days ago, and I'm still thinking about it. I'm still going over it, and I really want to see it again. Nice. I think it's best seen on the big screen right now, so you can just percolate right through your soul.
Whoa. Ooh. A sprinkling of cage. That has to go in the episode description.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I'm not a horror guy, like I said, but like I found it not to be very horror at all, thankfully. I found it to be just like Seven, just as you said.
Yeah.
I thought it was very good. It leaned into the supernatural a bit more than I felt comfortable with. Like, I was hoping it would be like a straight ahead, like, horror for the horror's sake, not like lean in. I'm trying not to ruin stuff here.
Yeah, no. I feel like with the supernatural stuff, they didn't even explain it. And I feel like
they didn't.
And by then, I think it's a choice that they did. Well, we don't need to explain it. This is what it is. We don't want to spend time on that side of it. This is what we want to spend time on, which is Nick Cage and Michael Monroe.
I love that he took his genesis for the character from, he walked in on his mom one night when she was putting Noxzema on her face, and she just turned and stared at him, and it scared the shit out of him as like an 8-year-old child, and that's where he took the whole aesthetic from that.
That is amazing. I did not know that. I would say if you're not a horror fan, this is still really worth seeing because it's a really good. If you're a fan of like Mindhunter on Netflix, bring it back to Netflix. Sorry, Netflix. We're sorry we've destroyed all your films this episode. Sorry. Except Hitman. Hitman was fucking brilliant, and you should have put it in cinemas more.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Completely agree. Before you carry on to that, I think Netflix are probably going to be all right. They'll cry into their bank accounts and wipe their tears away with billions of dollars.
So I asked for comments and on some of the stuff we're going to be talking about today, which was hard because I didn't know what we was talking about until we actually started. But I still managed to get 2 comments. And we had Don from Am I on the Air said, MaXXXine 3 out of 5, Longlegs 2 out of 5, overall disappointed in both. Well,
respect.
Interesting.
Yeah, we always like people who don't just agree with everyone. And our friend Stu over at Stu World Order, he just
yes,
absolutely...
we do.
Yeah, well, occasionally. Stu over Stu World Order, he hated the Wicker Man, the original Wicker Man. And I was like, we still haven't Wicker Manned him yet. Although he hasn't been on the pod yet, but he might be soon. So a perfect opportunity to Wicker Man him. Might have to cut that out because obviously he will know then that we are planning to Wicker Man him. The guys from Cage Fighting at Cage Fighting Pod, and no, it's not a UFC pod. It is one of the premier Nicolas Cage fan pods out there. Said, I really enjoyed the journey, less so the destination with MaXXXine's out of nowhere ending. It was egregious. Extra points for great use of the word egregious there. What they did there. We'll be seeing Longlegs again tonight before our own review next week. There was so much to it. I think a second viewing is a necessity. So, gentlemen, I believe that's all the time we have today on the We Need a Rose podcast. And remember, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the major podcast platforms. And remember, if you like what you hear, you can follow us and subscribe, which means when we drop new episodes, they're going to be there right away on your devices, like at least 2 people have done, because the other week, every single one of our episodes got another listen and download twice. So, like,
someone downloaded all of them at once.
All of them at once. Over the last week. So,
someone doesn't know how to use their phone, probably.
Yeah, it's someone old. It's someone's aunt or like grandparent, isn't it? It's like, one of our friends was on one of our nephews or nieces was on a podcast. Let's listen to it. How do we do podcasts? I think you push this button, Vera. Yes. So.
Numbers and numbers.
Thanks, Vera.
Yeah, thanks, Vera.
Big shout out to Vera.
Big shout out to Vera. Actually, one of our regular co-hosts, Marie, over in Portugal, she said her parents from Germany have been downloading it and then saying how good our editing is compared to her podcast that she does. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Such a German fucking compliment.
You have done a very good podcast, but it is not as good as. So yeah, if you want to find out more about what we're doing, I run our Twitter over at Needed Roads. I forgot the we, so it's just Needed Roads. David occasionally runs our Instagram at We Needed Roads. Ben, you're the merch guy. Tell everyone where they can find merch.
Yeah, you can get merch. We have it, and it's very trendy, and all the people who see you wearing it will go, ooh. Like
That's
that.
a Back to the Future shirt, an off-brand Back to the Future shirt.
Yeah, why did you rip off the Back to the Future logo? No, we didn't do that. That IP is protected heavily by Guardians.
The Galaxy?
Of the universe. Of the universe. And I'm definitely not stalling because I've completely forgotten the domain name for the merch.
Ben, would you like me to help you out?
Yeah, help me out.
Ben, you can actually go to Hawker, HAWKR, and then search for We Needed Roads podcast. I believe we're the only podcast on there because the rest of the people on there are bands, which is awesome.
It's true.
Good company.
I think there's actually one other podcast on there, but it might be us when I tried to set up the pages. I did it wrong and then didn't delete it. Now I come to think of it.
We have
Never
a monopoly.
And Jose, well, you're just here to show your photography skills to a massive worldwide audience. So where can people find you?
Yes, I'll keep it simple. Just do my Instagram. It's at Jose Lopez Photos. I do weddings, events, portraits, and headshots, as well as a few other things, depending if I know you or not. I travel.
That sounded very dirty, Jose.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm hitting you up, bro.
I didn't think about that. But I mean, if it pays, it pays. I don't know.
That's the spirit.
At Jose Lopez Photos or jlopezphotos.com, my website. Mostly geared towards weddings on that, but I just take photos and I want to get paid to do it because I love it.
Nice.
That's my shtick.
And of course, our guest today, who's staying on Ben's sofa, Mr. Josh Roush, filmmaker.
Yes, sir. I'm at Josh Roush on all the social medias, including Truth social media, Trump's platform.
Oh, wow, really? You signed up for that?
I got it just to get the username, 100%.
Oh my
and then I think I tweeted out how much I hate Trump. But yes, at Josh Roush on all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever it's called now. You can find me there and watch my bullshit.
How do you spell your last name, Josh?
Roush. Great call. Roush.
There you go. Perfect.
Thank you.
And I was going to say, Josh, as we got you here, what are you working on next and what have you got coming out next that you can talk about?
Right now I'm getting ready to hit UK tour with the Mad Caddies. Then I go to Canada to tour with them, US to tour with them. I'm doing a series of documentaries on YouTube about them called On the Road with the Mad Caddies. I'm terrible at naming conventions. 100% it's bad. Yeah. Please do better.
I'm gonna think of it while you're talking.
I appreciate that.
Something better than that.
Okay. I appreciate that. And then, writing my next movie while I'm out here, or at least trying to get the skeletal structure done on it. Ben is helping out with that. And yeah, that's pretty much my world right now. Trying to get the Michael Parks documentary out. I need to do the sound design while I'm out here as well. But Ben's just got me drinking the entire time, so it's not been very good workflow.
Standard.
I'm not that much of a
Bad influence.
It's me influencing him, let's be real.
There we go.
Yeah, both. I haven't come up with a better name for your
No,
Caddies
okay,
adventure,
appreciate
but that
it.
one does suck.
It does. Admittedly.
I mean, if they're a team of bad golfers, you call it bad caddies, but...
Hold on, they've got a song called Road Rash.
Yeah.
He would just call it Road Rash.
Ooh, where were you before I started this? All right, we can retroactively name it. Goodbye.
Well, Jose?
Oh, cheers, mates.
We needed roads.
What are you looking at, butthead?